life is supposed to be difficult. It's not easy no matter where you are. Money does not make it easy. You've got a whole pile of different difficulties. Not that I would know, because I've always been in the poor side of things, or heavily in debt, Oh, yes. Hello, cleavage. When I'm surrounded by people that are a lot younger than me, and you've got these stories, and they're going, oh my God, do we believe any of this? Because some of them are pretty crazy. And if you notice, when I tell a story, it's going to be the same story every time because it's true. But there's certain people that they don't tell the truth, so they don't think anybody else does, And it seems like too much, but you're going, well, look how much older I am, twice your age. Wait till you're my age, you might have a lot more stories that show that, my God, you've lived quite a few different lives in a way. And I suppose I have. It's really difficult to find words to explain that which you've learned without words. And it's not until I got some help that I could start letting it out and healing and using my writing then to open up about things that I kept secret, because it's these secrets that keep you isolated and make you feel so lonely. Probably one of the most private things in the world is an egg, until it is broken, and out steps a young one exposed. Exposed to the world in which it now inhabits, exposed to the parents who must now feed and care for it, exposed to the watchers from afar, waiting for its birth to be caught on video and shared with other interested watchers.
Antoinette, I think she was really excited to have a place where she could get to know the people and also have some sort of a structure for working on her writing.
I'm wrapped in this black hole that unless I can hold down the force.
Thursday's Writing Collective is a program of free drop-in creative writing classes for members of the downtown East Side community. As people drift in, they can sort of shed the chaos of the day and join the same energy on the page. But basically, this is a space for people to come and write what they need to write. When I first met Antoinette, she had this binder, and it was literally her life's work.
See, here's some of my poems, you see, that are like dog ears. They look like old weathered treasure maps.
She had all these loose leaf pages. They had coffee stains on them, and some of them were like fresh ink, and it was really a testament of who she was and what she was dealing with. One of the things that Thursdays can do is actually just provide a mechanism for writers as a repository for their writing, to sort of be an archive. Because, when you're in street survival mode, you don't have a place to put your stuff, and your writing gets lost. We all know the terror of your hard drive freezing. Well, what if you don't even have a hard drive? What if you're mugged and your binder is stolen? Like, that's happened to Antoinette. I think that's taught her a lot of resilience. I wouldn't presume to know what it's taught her, but I see that she has a different relationship to her text than other writers might. So it's been fantastic to see her practical materials transition from being loose leaf binders into published texts.
Yeah, my poetry, it wasn't a conscious thing that I need to start writing. It's something I just did. It was my company in a way, because the adversity that you're going through sometimes was just so great that I was carrying around so many burdens, and I didn't really realize how much I was carrying and how much I'd been carrying my whole life. My line was, oh, the sex is free. It's my charming personality and company that's expensive. I used to use it out on the track all the time, and I tell the other girls, if you hear me say that, that's because I think you're an undercover cop or something. Going through this journey that I went on, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things, to a lot of social problems, things that I've personally experienced that, were pretty harsh. At that point, all you got was derogatory treatment, because they'd see the masculine side of you and the features, and everybody makes these assumptions. I've got wounds from protecting myself because I've been attacked so many times with metal pipes and bats and clubs and knives. I mean, I got attacked on Granville Street and nobody comes to help. You got an audience cheering them on. So yes, my life has been quite eventful. What is it? A man or a woman? Would you have a look at that thing, guffaw? That's the ugliest thing I ever saw. Gay, you fucking fag. It's a dude. It's evil. You're going straight to hell, freak. Contempt and ridicule filled the past. Block after block walked. Blows tattooed on my mind usually come from behind. The wig falls, the heel breaks. I stumble and crouch and protect myself. In my ear a voice rasps, I'm going to kill you. What? I turned them on? It's difficult, See, I'm 62 now, and most of the girls, they don't live this long. Not that work the street. Most of them aren't with us anymore. Wow, look at the change in here now. Everybody's getting pushed out. So this is the stroll kind of thing. It was mainly this Ramier here from the stop signs. There was a Chevron station on the corner, right? So go there and use the washroom, and after a date, and shave and redo your makeup and tidy up. I always had like an extra stuff with me. Carried a razor, makeup, extra pair of underwear, things you need. A lot of the girls, they worked high track and then they came down to low track, But you didn't get as much money down here. That was the thing, and it's more dangerous. You get a lower clientele, often they're drunk or intoxicated. Yeah, some of them, they want their money back afterwards, right? And no bloody way. Yeah. I've done dates down the tracks too, in the tall grass and stuff. I mean, I've done them just right here on the other side of the bloody pillars. I've done them just around the corner. But you see, that's the thing about low track. It was going all night and all day. You could be down here in the morning getting the guys going to work or just getting off graveyard. Or during the day, afternoon shift. So that's what I say, when you're homeless and you're always working, so until you find a place, a date where you can maybe get some sleep, And I never laid down to go to sleep. I passed out. I'd fall asleep. Wherever, Because you fall asleep and you get robbed, so you have to you have to be careful. So you don't want to fall asleep until you're someplace safe, So. And that street lamp, it rarely worked. It'd be on and I'd walk by and it'd go out. I had that way. I've got so much, electric energy force around me. It fucks up, cashiers, street lights, I play my harmonica in here. See, you get that echo, right? I'll be wailing away on the harmonica.
When you're dealing with intersecting oppression, say like Antoinette has in her life, if some transphobia happens or non-inclusion happens, quite often that stuff is right there in your face. You are suddenly out in the cold. And I think we don't necessarily recognize how often actively witnessing people, just being present, really acknowledges and validates experiences people have been through. Meeting Antoinette, I think, for me was actually pretty healing in a sense of getting over my own internalized transphobia and transmisogyny, because I think to tell myself no to ever coming out, I had to push away from folks that were like myself. She dealt with a lot more of the discrimination that I feared experiencing. I often see her as sort of an elder in our communities, like many other folks. Just her visibility and being out there made a lot more space for others like myself to come out later in life and not necessarily experience the same kind of stigma and discrimination that she went through.
I can remember this couple downtown, and I guess they had a few to drink. They're pretty young, and they're coming across the street, and the guy, throws a derogatory comment at me, and I come back with something about being intersex, and oh yeah, what's that, and then when I finished telling them, and the couple there, they asked me if I do I take plastic. They want to take me home now.
Antoinette has been through so much, and yet she's so willing to give us so much of who she is and her experience. So I feel like it's a gift that often isn't something that people recognize at first, because they're like, wow, this is pretty intense stuff. I'm not sure if I'm capable of hearing it or not. But her welcoming us into sharing that experience and perhaps learning from it, and maybe changing the way we work with people, but also the way that we interact with other community members around us, I think is huge. And if we're not willing to listen, then it's one of those things that may pass away. And we'll never know those experiences from our elders that made space for folks like myself to be out there as a trans individual and have employment and have stable shelter, or for youth nowadays who are coming out as gender diverse or trans to have families that are supportive. I think if we forget our elders in that process and forget what they've been through to make space for us, we're doing an incredible disservice.
This battered and tattered, tormented, lonely heart. So there's a lot of things that I've seen in my travels and experienced firsthand, and it's nice that I'm in a position where we can put something together on stage and I can share some of these experiences.
Yeah, so they kept the show completely hidden from me. They just said, you got the role. First table read. We get going, and I was like, wow, this is pretty heavy. It's so not clean. It's so unfiltered. It's just really real and raw and playful, but yet beautiful. People don't believe me when I tell this story. Like, people are like, really? This actually exists? And I'm like, yeah, and she's gonna be on stage.
And our first read-through of it, I came out the other side of it having just read this amazing work of poetry, and I didn't know whether to leap over the table and hug Antoinette because she's been through all this. I didn't know whether to just sob because of the weight of the story. I didn't know whether to start an activism group and march down the street. You know what I mean? It was a real, it was a call to action. The writing speaks for itself, and then you learn who Antonette Rea is, and you just come out of it saying, how are you this eloquent and beautiful in telling your story when you've been through all of that?
the power of this play is it's a story about survival. It's a story about humanity. It's a story about the beauty of failing and standing and failing and hoping. But what's amazing is that she is light. She carries almost no luggage, you know. She's full of baggage, but she has such a sense of humor. It's truly at times unbelievable what you go through. From one line, you feel like you think it's gonna, oh, this is gonna be fun. And then within the same line, you feel like your heart has just been wrenched. You realize you can't escape. You just can't escape. And neither does she gives herself space to escape. She just is a true warrior. Yeah, it's the feminine word, yeah, warrior.
The theater is a place where we look at human codes of behavior, and it's sort of like the last true place for freedom of speech. And so in this world, I think the audience can observe her and observe her life and observe her energy and observe her sort of delight and her humor and at how she's lived through her life, and learn a great deal about their own selves and about human conduct and human behavior. And that's all you can ask for in the theater.
And Antoinette, when you're in the scene, just remember to start then going into more of slow-mo before you exit. And the exit could be a little slower. It doesn't have to.
The play is very much an event around her. Whoever the filter is, the people around her who are going to filter this process for her, she's still going to be in the room. If we've all failed miserably at our jobs, the audience is still going to get Antoinette. And that's all that matters, right?
Despair. I was walking like a zombie in the middle of traffic, hoping I'd be run down. I brought my homemade shank just in case I was still alive when I ran out of road. Somehow I survived. This traffic slowed, went around her by. I can remember I was sitting in a rock in the tall grass, out by a spur off the railroad tracks. I was looking down at my player cigarette pack, having a smoke, and in the health surgeon's warning, I saw the devil looking back, laughing, while he fucked some poor bitch in the ass. Talk about being a little fucked up. Somehow, I'd snapped out of it. I looked at my shank and said, that ain't gonna kill me. That's just gonna make a mess. It'll probably fucking hurt like hell too. So I packed up my stuff and life seemed a little better. Heading home, the rush hour traffic picked up. I could even step back and laugh at myself, like, what a fucking idiot, A couple of weeks later, I was in the Tinseltown Mall. They still had payphones then. I decided to call Sarah, my daughter. And when she realized it was me on the other end, she was almost crying when she said,
Dad? Dad, is everything okay? I was so worried. I had this dream. Remember our house on Cade Bar? I was in my room, only there was a double bed instead. You were there with me on the bed when suddenly you sat up and asked me to kill you. A gun appeared and I picked it up and I shot you.
When did you have this dream?
It was a couple of weeks ago. I was so scared something bad had happened to you.
A couple of weeks ago? I deep-ended. The bottom fell out. I stumbled out to kill myself. You must have killed me before I could actually kill myself. So don't you cry. You saved me. Because of you, I'm still alive. Oh, my daughter and I are close. She's a big part of why I'm here where I am. because she gave me a reason. She showed me unconditional love. And she didn't have any qualms about me and my sexuality or anything. She just we loved each other. Love.
Yes, love you.
It's what got me through, was unconditional love. And Sarah's love was like what I say, it's like a beacon of light in a sea of deceit. For me, it was something I could hold on to and grasp, because my depression and my despair and my...
You make me cry now.
Well, it had got to that point where, yeah, I was pretty down for a long time.
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't at all. I remember very vividly the conversation when you told me that you were gay. But this was right before the transition. She told me and I was like, oh, that's what it was. Because I remember being young and I even tried to capture it on photo a couple times. Like, I'm talking single digit age. And whenever you were with your music, you would stand a different way. You'd have different mannerisms. And I could see it. And I don't know if it was maybe because I'm gay myself, you know, the whole gaydar thing, whatever. But I could see it. And I was like, something's different. And it's just this glimmer of a totally different person who is still my dad, but it was just a completely different person. And I remember that was one of the hardest things, was coming to visit her, and just people, the reaction on the street is just, like, it hardens you. Because you see the way that they look at, you know, you and your loved ones, and you're looking for that acceptance, but you don't always get it. Like, even nowadays, take the bus with my girlfriend or something, you still get the eyes, you still get people looking at you, and you never know if they're judging you in a negative way or they're looking at you as if, like, oh, that's beautiful, that's nice that you can be together. And it's hard. The generation that she was born in, it's unthinkable. So I can't imagine the inner turmoil and the self-hating that can be created when you have a society that's just so unaccepting. Like, it breaks my heart. Yeah. But,
Me too.
Yeah. We need to wait for, like, the 10-year-olds right now to grow up and be in their 40s, and then things will probably be better, right? It's like, they need to be those pillars.
Is everyone ready? Quiet in the room, please.
Thank you.
Sorrow and age, decay in the road.
Thank you.
The
We're going to have to go back a bit on that one.
Starlise, can we take you in a position downstage where your dance takes place? I just want to see you. Yeah, and if you could just hold there for a second, we're going to adjust some
We
lighting.
talked to Antoinette about what this project would entail. You know, we asked her, are you comfortable performing in a theater context? And there was no hesitation really on her part. Yes, there's movement in it, and it's an interdisciplinary piece, but what informs everything in the piece is Antoinette's words and her poetry.
I often say I have the rhythm of the cosmos flowing through me. My doctor just suggested there might be some brain damage affecting my motor skills. My dates just thought I was horny all the time, which turned them on.
It's quite obvious she loves to perform. That was obvious to me when she was reading her poetry. Because it wasn't just a reading, you know, it was a performance, right? So I think Antoinette may not be theater trained, may not come from theater, but she's a performer. She's a born performer.
Learning the tricks of the trade from other queens and working girls, how to dress, makeup, and what to expect. Like, get the money first. And 2 bras, one to stuff and uplift, the other to cover and compress. And 2 panties, one to tuck the package back in the box, the other an attractive wrapping. And always trust and act on your intuition. Could be the difference between life and death.
Right. That way. I'm in pain. Sorry. Anyway, I can't remember when I moved down.
Okay.
I lost my place now.
Jonathan, how far away are we?
Around 35.
We should probably move ahead. I think we'll be fine. And Antoinette, whenever we've stopped like this, feel free to sit in the chair, sit on the steps, whatever you want.
I'm getting older. I'm really feeling the age now. Wasn't able to move that well recently because of the car, getting hit by a car. And after getting hit by that car, it's like I aged 10 years. I've never been so crippled in my entire life, like every step in pain, and you're walking and, you can't keep up. And I used to dance, and I'd take a day off, and go dancing all night. Usually on a quiet night like Sunday or Monday night. I got the whole dance floor to play with, and I'd go dance for hours. I've got hip issues now, and then also the accident giving me nerve pain. So it's been really difficult.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take 15 minutes. If the actors can stay in their costume, that's great, but you're on a break for 15 minutes. I think they were in a good position. Come with me to this one, and then Antoinette is right between them.
I'm a survivor. I say everything happens for a reason, and I guess I got close to making the money, very close, but that wasn't in my cards. It didn't matter what I did. I was going to end up on this journey, one way or another. Yeah, life would seem like hell sometimes. But if you live through it, and you look back, sometimes you can see the purpose, and why things had to be that way. And for me, I guess, it's not about material things. The wealth is in your stories of your lived experience. And the more stories you have, the wealthier you are. I was lying to myself, trying to please my parents, my family, because I wanted their acceptance, their love.
That was higher. I see that.
And I wasn't getting it. Once she was free, there was no going back. I realized that I have to embrace the journey of Antoinette fully, because that's who I am. Hi, I'm Antoinette. This is Starley's. This is Austin. And we'd like to share some of my poetic nonfiction, or some of my poems with you tonight. These were written mostly when I was working the streets of Vancouver, and they shed various hues of light on what is the essence of my spirit and soul. And I hope you enjoy them. M to F. Masculine to feminine. Male. Frail. Fierce female. Businessman. The business. Whore. Banker. Parent. Father. Father Ann. Transparent. Intersex trans. Trans woman. Misunderstood. Uncle. Auntie. Auntie Tony. Tony. Annie the tranny, trans Anne, Antoinette's Antoinette, without the I. It's not a choice you make. It's the way it is. The way I was made. To deny Antoinette is to deny who I am. A life of unhappy limitations when living a lie. A life of limited happiness for a trans woman living in yesterday's society. Or is that a city-dwelling myth? Look out if you're transgender all alone and live in a small redneck town. You go, girl. Work it, honey. You walk that line. So far out there it appears over the edge to most. You're special, and don't let anyone tell you different.
Generally, as a trans woman, I attract straight people. I know a lot of people look at you and they misperceive the fact that, hence the name Misunderstood, is they think you're a gay man, and so you get attacked for being a faggot all the time. You're on the front lines, and I've never really. Most transgendered women aren't part of the gay community. You know, they don't exist in that sort of environment, and they're friends and they're allies. But the straight man doesn't see it that way. He thinks you're, you know, and the first things out of their mouth is always about sex.
Sure enough, 4 young men show up.
We're gay. Would you like to fuck us all for $1,000?
They say.
We'll pay.
I'd like to fuck you all, but I don't think I can.
Why not? We're all good looking.
I'm usually the catcher. I don't think I can pitch.
We'll give you $2,000.
It's not the money. It's the fact I can't get it up in order to pitch, if you get my drift. 4 contorted faces looked back at me in dismay. They were straight, not gay, as they say. Unintimidated, I carried on with their lesson. And what do you want with a bitch like me anyway? Don't you gay boys just fuck each other? Disbelieved, they slowly turned and walked away. One fellow lagged behind, and over his shoulder he yelled,
"You're fucking crazy. I'm gonna go get my 45 and blow your fucking head off!"
Grow up! This was just another part of your education, you stupid fools! Come back here and I'll beat the fucking crap out of all of you. Hopefully next time, they'll think twice before attempting to lure another queen off the stroll and into an alley, just to beat the fuck out of her with the 2x4s they'd retrieved from, then return to the trunk of their car. And I come around with a coffee and my purse, and that's my corner, you know? And boom, he fucking suckers me, and he's got, you know, a piece of metal in his hand with a spike coming out between his, right in my eyeball. He punches a hole in my eyeball, a round hole just below, in the white bottom of my eye. So I threw my hot coffee in his face. I fucking beat him with my fucking purse. But of course, the strap rips off and my purse goes flying. And the big guy's gonna pick up my purse, and I'm in heels, and I come across and I fucking boom, and I hit him with a shoulder, right? Like a football player, and I knock him off my purse, and I'm standing over my purse like this, you know. He's going, "What's in that purse?" You know what I'm going? "Not much, but you ain't getting it," you know? No more bright, vibrant colors and loud makeup. As I age, the pastel shades go better with wrinkles of experience. I know, it sure do. Used to be the only job left for the male to female transsexual was in and around the sex trade. So whatever you do, don't get it cut off. You lose all your business. I was telling another old-time working girl that I'd recently retired from the business. Shocked, she replied, "How will you ever survive?" I had thought about doing the senior circuit as a sexual stress release therapist. I'd offer seniors discounts with free Viagra. But alas, I'm holding out for a real relationship. So I've recently laid to rest that high-heeled tranny whore character I used to project.
I suppose, in a way, I still mourn the loss of yet another closer than a sister, dear friend. Ah, the memories we share as I turn another new leaf. Oh yes, I am a woman with a past.
I was born with ovaries as well as testicles, so there's a biological component to all of this, and that's part of my adversity was the fact that I was different, and then I'm shaming the family because at that time that's what the attitude was if you had a child born with intersex or hermaphrodite, they were taken away from and put in an institution and isolated from the rest of society.
Where was my family? Good question. Where was my family? Basically, they weren't accepting. Enough said, otherwise I wouldn't be down on downtown east side. I would have had some support. I wouldn't have been cut loose with nothing. I picture my mom with her all too familiar scowl, transforming her face with a wonderful smile. Crikey, what's he wearing now? You're not really going to wear that, are you? I forbid you to have any women's clothes in this house. This is our house, and you live by our rules or else. Why do you keep doing this to us? Good Lord, what on earth will the neighbors think? I always seem to make sure the neighbors had lots to think about. I know myself the hardest thing is being not accepted by your family. And I think, you know, some of the girls that I've known and have committed suicide and younger was because of their families' non-acceptance of their gender identity. And it's funny when you see somebody transition and they go from being a quiet little person and you see them blossom as a person because they're able to. It's amazing. The changes in the personality and in the person themselves, the confidence and then when they commit suicide, it just tears your heart apart because you saw this person and you knew them. And I had another friend, transgender, she committed suicide this year on her birthday, and you know, that's pretty sad. Things are getting better, I hope, in this ever-changing, more tolerant city. I've worked hard to find peace inside. The person I know I am, Antoinette, she is a good person. My writing and sharing through performance have allowed me to engage with life again. It has allowed me to, once again, find myself and come to terms with aging as all mature women must.
I mean, it was a fabulous experience for me because I was surrounded with such professional people. Everybody involved with the production, they were great. It was challenging. Just going through some of that material is very emotional for me. And when you're doing it every day sometimes, and you've got other actors and people in the room, you know, sometimes it just catches you and you start emotionally falling apart. So it's hard to sometimes work with stuff that's so personal. But I'm always about, you know, opening up because for so long you were muted and you were alone and you felt alone against the world.
Deeply in debt and penniless, you reached out when I needed someone the most. You were there. I didn't look for you, so down depressed. You appeared and were there for me when I was so too fucked up to be aware. You were there to listen, to help me get things out. Secrets held deep inside. You were there to lift my spirit when I freed Antoinette, to support her coming out. You were there through so much adversity when there was no one else. Cast out and homeless, lucky to be alive, sleeping in stolen vehicles to stay warm. Almost froze to death when without. You were there with me throughout, when drugged and sexually abused again and again. Not able to get away. Framed and blamed. Was that over 2 years enslaved? They almost lost me, drugged into a 2-week coma. A coma, yeah. You were just an arm length away. I was so confused. My reality, drug-induced delusions and illusions. The intimacy we've shared. I love how you feel in my fingers, the way you glide across the page. Squiggling ideas to spring from the page. And art, creating art. I love the way you caress my emotions and let the rage vent. You help me to think things through, to process all the violence and the abuse and trauma. I love how you comfort me when in loneliness and make me aware when my depression turns to despair. I love how you help me to care, to embrace all that is good. How you're just a thought away, hopeful that Antoinette can come out and play. You're my oldest and closest friend, and for a long time my only friend, my best friend. The pen.